Time to welcome in Pablo Mastroeni, joining us from Portugal. Pablo, good morning. Or good afternoon where
morning,
you are.
Guys.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's close to evening here, but yeah, good morning.
I can't think about dinner right now. It's too far away. Pablo, there are a bunch of fans. Some have been hitting me up on social media. When are they going to sign somebody? When are they going to sign somebody? When are they going to sign somebody? And there's reports out yesterday. You are close to finalizing a lot of players. Can you talk about any of these players? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to feel like you're going to jinx something and you shouldn't?
Yeah, probably shouldn't. But yeah, and it's all kind of happening fast. So, I think Kurt's doing everything he can to get these guys across the line. And then obviously with visa issues and all that stuff, we're still, a week or two behind. But I think we've secured, quite a few. And, really excited about, how the guys have done here. And then obviously with those players coming in, I think will be a big boost to the group.
So you anticipate them being in before the season starts, or when?
Yeah, that's a tricky part, PK. And again, I think that's more than likely. I would say maybe 2 won't be available, 2 will, and but that's also that's my guess. That's my hopes, anyways. So there's a chance that and I think every country in the visa situation is different. And so it's such an arduous process, and one never knows. So my expectation is that we're going to go with the guys that we have here in camp, and then as those guys start to get their paperwork done, they'll start to filter in with the group. And then obviously, that's always the toughest thing at this stage of the preseason.
There are, of the names being mentioned, and we won't get into any specifics, but there's a tacker who's been mentioned who, looks like he maybe could score some goals for you, but there's also pretty heavy on defenders and defensive midfielders. How much of that is depth? How much do you feel like, hey, we could be bringing in some guys who are going to start, or maybe maybe they're going to start and rotate, and we'll see how it goes. Everything has to be earned, and the competition looks intense. How are you viewing these guys and how they'll fit with the group?
Yeah, no, I think the caliber of player that we're looking to bring in is top, right? And so the expectation is that these guys come in and contribute meaningfully from the start, right? And then obviously there's always competition as the season goes, but I think the players that are coming in are going to definitely improve the group at a really good level. So. But again, at the end of the day, everyone's got to compete for their spots. But I think, a couple of guys, are in mid-season, and so they'll be in a good run of form, playing competitive stuff whilst the rest of the group is still getting through preseason. So I anticipate, the players that we're bringing in are going to, they're top-level guys that we've identified, looked at, and feel that they can contribute right from the start in a meaningful fashion.
Sean Walker at KSL.com wrote a story on this kid, Booth. And you're talking about transition moments. You thought that the team was below average, and you played him 35 minutes here recently in the second half. Tell us about this kid. And I know he's local and he's been over in Europe for a bit, but just want to know more about him from your perspective.
Yeah, no, Zach is a player that went over to Europe at a younger age. And wasn't seen enough of the field, and he's joined us, and he's been a real bright spot in the group. Obviously, doesn't have a ton of experience, but I think just being in the environment in Europe and playing the games that he did, he's got a different eye for the game. He's a really good pro at a young age. He's dynamic. He's got a great change of speed. He can play in an interior position like a 10. Today, actually, he ran probably 25 minutes as a midfielder, and brought a different look to the midfield with his explosiveness. He's good on the ball, connects passes, but he's also had in the last few games, I think 2 or 3 shots a game, so he can get, he likes to get in front of goals. So a really interesting player that is really flexible tactically, but a really good mindset, really good pro. And great to bring back a young man from Utah.
Pablo, there's been a lot of reporting on what might or might not happen to Diego Luna, and a lot of fans have probably seen the media reports out there that there's a couple of teams that are very interested in him right now. There's also speculation that, wait till after the World Cup. From his perspective, he gets to play and stay in shape or stay in top form for the World Cup because he knows he's going to play for Real Salt Lake. That's a lot of stuff going on, and I know how you are. You've told me about a million times. If I don't know by now, that's a me problem. Focus on today, but it's like he could be moving to the other side of the world. He could have a huge World Cup. How is he doing at focusing on today when he's got what obviously are these big things sitting out there at some point, whether it's a week, a month, or a year away?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think for most players Diego's age, it'd be difficult. I think the one thing with Diego Luna is he's really grounded, and he's really he is one of these players that is really focused on the moment. As I've talked to you in the past, when we're doing video sessions of the team, you can guarantee Diego speaks up and talks about, the tactical positioning of said player. We as a collective should be doing this. And so he's really, really engaged. And I think if you're a player that's dreaming too far into the future, maybe you're not here and you're not present and you're not contributing in the way that he does. So both in the video room, on the field, training field, and, in the games that we play, he's been 100% dialed in. And, my conversation with him is, he understands the enormity of the World Cup and having, a guarantee that he's going to play here versus, putting in another variable, going to a European club anytime soon, wouldn't be in his best interest. And so he's 100% committed to the team. He's working his tail off to get fitter every day. And so, I think it speaks a lot to his character and his maturity as a young man.
You talk about that transition that I just alluded to. At this point in the season, or preseason, obviously, are there things that you're honing in on specifically, or is it just in general in terms of the whole game?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think we set out goals, just again, big goals to start the preseason to kind of frame the kind of team that we want to be and how we can improve. We want to be top 5 defensive team in this league, and again, that has as much to do with defending, but more importantly with transition. And in the games that we've played in preseason so far, the amount of chances we've created and scored a few in transition has been more than what we did all last year in 34 games. And so when you have a good defensive structure, players are closer together to combine to break through. And then when you have, speed up top, it makes a huge difference. And so a lot of our focus has been on that aspect of it. And so not only defensively have we been solid, but I think the goals that we scored from it have been a huge plus. And then obviously with the ball, more so than last year, is being more vertical. And what I mean by that is not just pumping the ball long, is having more actions ahead of the ball that are threatening the back line, so that the ball carrier has more than one just short option, but he's got now 2 long options as well to threaten the back line. Because, again, in the modern game, everyone wants to press high, and they're giving up the space behind them. And oftentimes it takes, 10 passes to get up to midfield, where we want to still play that way, but more importantly, be more vertical, eyes up, so that if we can make that same play with 1 pass versus 10, let's do it. And now we got threats and guys running in behind. And so those have been the areas of focus for us, and the guys have really taken on to it. I think after 14 days here, the guys were a bit leggy, but the effort and the understanding, and we've done a lot of stuff in the video room as a collective with the guys kind of leading the video, and they've just taken it on board, and they're doing great stuff. And so, as I alluded to earlier, these guys have done a great job in the first, 3 weeks of preseason, and then with the addition of some, top caliber players joining the group, I think we've established a good foundation for those guys to join us.
Brian Dunseth has a long and occasionally tortured and occasionally hilarious relationship with Bruce Arena. And Bruce Arena is the most accomplished U.S. coach of the last 30 years at college, club, and international level. And Dunny does this hilarious impersonation of Bruce when Bruce rips Dunny for a question. It's the funniest thing. And he asked something about formations, and I don't even want to do the impression. He does it so, but you do the game a disservice with your talk with this talk about formations, right? And I say that because I know I'm doing a disservice when I ask you about switching to a 3-5-2, because at times guys are going to drop back and it's going to look like you got 4 or 5 in the back. People are going to be sitting at the game like, what are they talking about a 3-5-2? It's not what it looks like right now, but it seems like a big part of that is those guys on the outside really committing them to the attack, even though they're going to have to defend. But Catranis will be able to get up higher, and he's really good at crossing balls in. I mean, he can really put that ball right on somebody's forehead. And so he's going to be more committed to the attack. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that evolution? Apparently you're still seeing the defense from that last answer, but he's seeing the evolution where there's going to be more guys committed to the attack.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a big part, and that's where the tactical part actually makes sense, right? Because we're Alex doesn't have to recover as far back. We can get more pressure on the ball. He's going to be in a more advanced area without the fear of having to run 80 yards back to goal, which at times you'll still have to do depending on if we give the ball up cheap. But I think that we played. I think it was Bromby a couple days ago, and had a great run in behind the defense and scored a goal. And, Dom's been doing a really good job on the right side. I think he scored a goal in the first game. So, again, I think all the stuff that we've been working through and making sure that, again, with the 3 center backs, we're always trying to release one of them into the attack. So for as much as it looks like 3, we want to have 3 in the back to really control the flow of the game. But when we see the certain cues and triggers, releasing one of those to add another number in the attack with a wing back as well, provides the element of surprise to defenses. And so, just with those 2 guys scoring goals from those wide positions, I think it speaks to we're making some really good progress in this new formation.
A couple of summers ago, my wife and I were playing golf, and we got hooked up with these Europeans, and they told us that they had a house where in Portugal, where the Mediterranean meets the sea, and they described it as probably the most luxurious, glamorous place on earth. I couldn't believe it. My mouth was watering. I forgot about my golf game when they were describing that place. And it just seemed like, wow, what a place to be. You get an opportunity to see any of these places. Is it true? Is it some place that I should visit?
Oh, PK, you should definitely come visit. If for nothing else, the food. And it doesn't matter where you go, whether it's a little mom-and-pop restaurant, whether it's our hotel food. It's incredible. You think that there's Michelin star chefs everywhere in Portugal. They all live here. The food is just incredible. It tastes fresh, and it's been remarkable in that way. And then obviously, we happen to be here the rainiest week and a half, 10 days, 2 weeks of their rainy season. And today is the first day that we're getting a little bit of sunshine. So it's been wet. We had a tea time actually pegged for our off day, and we had to cancel it because the winds were going like 60 miles an hour, and it was raining buckets. So, but the terrain and the hills, and it's just, and the other part too is like, everyone here is like the pace of life is really slow. So if the U.S. is 100 miles an hour, I feel like where we're at in the Algarve is 25 miles an hour. Everyone's walking, everyone's strolling, everyone's talking. Even if it's raining, umbrellas out, and so it's just a different pace of life. But it is a beautiful place, and the golf courses out here, we were able to play the last time we were out here, and they're beautiful. So they got good wine, they got golf, they got beautiful weather most times of the year, and the food is fantastic. So I don't know. I'd recommend coming out here for sure.
Sweet.
And you trade it all to be back at that Jack in the Box half mile from Thunderbird High.
We wouldn't trade it. It just so happens to be that that's where we're from.
If I'm 16 and I got nothing to do on a Friday night, and Carol's there, and I know Carol's there, that parking lot.
All right, Pablo.
Many fantasies were spent at that Jack in the Box parking lot.
Holy smokes.
All right.
But not realized.
All right, Pablo, we will let you go, and we will see you back here soon, right? When do you guys return?
We take off Sunday.
Yeah, okay. and it was coming up.
So we'll be back soon.
All right. We'll talk to you, Pablo. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. There's Pablo Mastroeni. A little disappointed, but I understand why. A little disappointed. He didn't want to talk by some of the guys by name. When they're going through the visa thing, apparently it is, and this is a lesson I guess it was learned a long time ago, and I think even long before RSL existed, but certainly it's become even more intense with obviously all the headlines we've heard the last few years. It is, no one does themselves any favors by talking about people who still have to go through that visa immigration process as if it's done. That doesn't help. It can slow things down dramatically.
Well, get it done.
I know, but it's not done by the club.
They're here to play.
I know, but it's not done by the club.
I know
it's done by government officials.
It's not done by the club. I fully understand that.
They don't appreciate assumptions being made out in the media. So you'll find whatever club, general managers and coaches will start tap dancing like crazy. But it does sound like it's close.
Essentially,
that was a great question by you as far as
play ball.
The season. Well, probably a couple, but maybe not a couple. So we'll see. We'll see as they
Get
come
it
in.
done.
But
Gosh.
That's why Pablo didn't want to get into names. He's dying to talk about names that he knows it's not the right time.
I understand.
Well, have you seen their list of the XX trialist that is playing for them that they've put on their lineup sheets? That they're PK. They're not trying to screw any of this up.
Yeah,
I get it. But I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the government.
I know what you're done. Yeah, you're right.
And they're spending money, which of course we can get into later. Maybe we can talk about it. But one of the guys, the goal scorer, they're looking at bringing in from France. It's supposed to be in the $5 million neighborhood.
This team's made the playoffs 5 years in a row.
In a $2 million neighborhood. They missed in the 2020, so yes, 5 years in a row.
And I think there's not many, if any, who have made that. But now we got to go more. We got to go deeper. And I want it. I want it this season.
Right. Yeah. New York had a long run that got snapped.
These one and dones. I'm done with it.
Yeah. No. Get in line. You're the man of the people. Say it, PK.
I'm not obnoxious.
No.
I'm one of yous.
When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us.